Alright guys, today we're gonna go over the perfect start in Avowed. Yeah, uniques are pretty much everything in this game, so today I'm gonna show you how to get some of the best uniques early on in the game, pretty much first couple of hours give or take, and with minimal quest completion. Now right from the very beginning we can get a very useful pair of unique boots with some extra movement speed plus a bunch of other very useful items right here from this lighthouse very close to the spawn point. So simply follow the same route as I do if you want to go there quicker, and we're going to eventually go up the scaffolding up that lighthouse. Now around the middle section you should see this gap in the wall, and if you pay attention to your right you should see this very useful totem fragment. From here, navigate the scaffolding carefully and make sure that you loot this corpse, which is going to give you a very useful treasure map that we're going to be using in just a little bit. And from this point on, simply make your way almost all the way at the top, where you will encounter this chest with the pair of Arcanist boots inside. This increases your health restoration from all sources by 5%, but it gives you a 10% movement speed up until you get something much better much later on. Now, if you instead want a different pair of boots that provide some extra resistances, you can head over towards the Fellowship Harbor, jump into the water, and there should be this gap into the wall that you can follow through. Destroy all the obstacles on the way until you make your way into the area with the enemies. Go ahead, either destroy them or ignore and go past them, but you're going to eventually open up this door, which leads you to a bigger unique chest. And if you open that up, that's going to give you this pair of Wayfarer's boots, slowly regenerate health while walking, but it's also going to give you plus 10% resistances to poison and bleed accumulation. Now, if you're a spellcaster, then from this point on, we can get a very nice unique Grimoire that will help you a ton, and we're going to do so at these islands in the Fractured Shores. So what you have to do is follow the main bridge area once you get into the place, and from this point on, just follow the same path as I am, eventually jumping over a big gap. Eventually, you're going to reach this area with some enemies. You can just go ahead and simply ignore them because we're going to take this route to our left that kind of circles back from where we came from. And eventually, you're going to turn to the right side, leading to the edge of one of the islands. And right here in this right side corner, you can destroy some of these boxes because inside of it, you're going to get this Grimoire. Now, I'm not going to lie, it may not be the best as there's going to be some better options later, but you do have some very useful abilities from early on, like Arcane Veil, Fan of Flames. You also get some Grimoire Snap, so totally useful for a Mage caster. But from this point on, I want to show you how you can get a very powerful piece of armor. And in this case, we have to go towards Paradise City onto one of these western walls. Eventually, you should spot this cave with some webs on it, so go ahead inside. Now, I recommend just collecting everything you can as there's many resources and useful money on the way. Eventually, you should reach some tunnels that are blocked by some webs. In this case, use fire abilities either of your own or your own companion. And this is going to bring you to a first item right here. There's a platform with a corpse next to it, and you can get a quick, unique medallion with some resolve on it. Not that useful, but ahead there's going to be an even better option. So again, navigate, collect everything, destroy all of those webs up until you make your way towards the boss encounter. And defeat the boss as well as the other minions, because upon one of their corpses, you can get this very useful steel garrote plate. This is going to be especially useful if you're aiming for a tank build. It's easy to respec in this game. It gives you a huge amount of damage reduction. And of course, you can also minimize some of the minuses to stamina and essence by just investing points into some of these skills here. Now, if you want to continue from here, technically there's one more ring. So if you just push towards the other end of the caverns, you're going to eventually reach this upper area, and you can just keep it with the platforms to the right side. Eventually, if you make your way like this through the map and through all of the ruins, you should reach another place with a waterfall. Again, just keep it to the right as much as you can up until you encounter that waterfall. Behind that waterfall, you should encounter another chest that gives you Ondra's Grace, a ring that provides extra healing whenever you're wet. So it doesn't happen too often, but if you go in caves or just step in a puddle, that should boost that up quite a bit. Now from here, we're pretty much ready to get a very strong shield from the treasure map that we found back at the lighthouse. So from the same location, we're now going to make our way downwards, pretty much towards this location, very close to the riverbank. So just make your way down over here up until you reach the shore. From this point on, jump into the water and pay attention to this rubble over here. Beneath the water, you should spot a cave entrance bringing you to that cache. And if you go all the way up into the end, you should see the wind and wave unique shield. Pretty good in terms of efficiencies, block, and resistances. You gain another 10% movement speed and more resistances to frost accumulation, as that's going to be quite helpful later on. But now it's time we get a very awesome fiery sword called Last Light of Day. And this is going to also have some nice fire imbuements. But you need to head over towards Euthasian Temple right here on this side of the map, as there's going to be a quick mission, relatively speaking, that we're going to have to go ahead and complete. So make your way towards that northern part of the map right here precisely. If you just navigate inside of this canyon, eventually you should reach another side, and there's going to be a bunch of NPCs here that you can go ahead and talk to. They will inform you about some stranded NPCs that you have to go ahead and rescue. So just progress further in the cave. Now, without spoiling much, there is a very important character here that you have to talk to. So for now, just go through that dialogue. But now it's time to follow the path from the mission. So simply head over the same direction I am. Eventually, you should reach this building to your left and just navigate the rooms up until the lower section. Now here, in the first room, you should encounter a bunch of platforms that you can use to jump into the gap area above. Go through this area and crouch beneath this boulder to reach the other side. And eventually, there's going to be another drop down into the next section. If you go at the back of the final room, you should encounter this door that you can easily open up, which is going to bring you to one of the final objectives before actually returning back to the NPC we talked to. Again, without spoiling too much over here, just complete the objective over there and then head over back to the same NPC in the main courtyard. Speak to him again, and that's going to give you a final encounter. And in this case, it's going to be a bit more tricky to take him down, but if you do it, you're going to get his really amazing weapon. That's going to be this one right here. This literally gets to carry you all the way into the end game. It's called Last Light of Day. Besides the fact that this is fine quality already, so pretty much it's going to get some very strong stats, it also comes with some extra bonus to fire damage if you use those spells, and of course, taking down enemies also restores some of your maximum HP, again providing a massive boost to your survivability. Now, if you also want a fire dagger, there is a possibility to get one relatively early, but it is going to be a bit more difficult if you do this at level 1, and that's going to be this really awesome sheathed in summer dagger. Basically, you're going to get it from Octave, the firebrand, which is going to be a higher difficulty mob you have to defeat. But if you follow that location right here on this side of the map, if you just circle around and eventually go to the upper area, you should find him right here around the middle. I do recommend making some saves before this if you want to take him down right away, but if you do defeat that, he's going to give you this really awesome sheathed in summer unique dagger. So this is going to provide some extra bonuses to fire damage and also fire accumulation. If you want to play with something that, does a lot of fire damage, this is going to help quite a bit with it. Anyway, if you technically want something extra as a mage class, there is a pair of gloves that you can get right here a bit further northeast at the shrine to Warika. So in this case, this is going to be a very simple solution. You're just going to want to make your way towards the shrine basically. So climb up and just make your way the same way as I do over here. You should find some of this scaffolding in this place. Now from this point on, you're going to want to pay attention to your right side. There should be a bunch of rocks and the path leading further down. And if you follow this, take it to the right side again, paying attention over here behind you should be a destructible scaffolding again that you can go ahead and open. And inside you can find the Arcanist's gloves. With this, you're going to get some extra parkour speed, but more important, you get 20 extra essence. That's going to be your primary mana basically, so you're going to always want as much as you can for any mage. Now from the same shrine of Warika, we can head over towards a place called Watcher's Mirror, where we can find this really awesome winter axe. It has an amazing frost ability and it's going to be great if you want to use these types of skills. So for that, you're going to want to head over right here towards this location called Watcher's Mirror. There's even a camp very close to it where you can go ahead and rest. So from inside of the camp, you're going to want to make your way over the bridge, and eventually right here, you should take it to the right side from this castle. Eventually, you're going to pass here to the other side. There's even an important event over here that you can go ahead and take part in. But in the middle of the pond, you should see the axe sitting right here on this platform. Go ahead, grab it. This is going to be very useful if you're going with a frost build. You even get some extra bonuses to frost damage and also frost accumulation if you want to test out a different build than the one with fire. Anyway, we only have a couple of items left, so the next one is going to be this very useful ring, a bit up north from the previous Watcher's Mirror. If you head over here, there's going to be Runed's house. So when you are at this location, you should reach the pond area with the broken bridge. In this case, I recommend using a frost spell to create a platform over the water. From this point on, follow the same route as I am. There should be a path to the left side that leads up the mountain, and you're going to stop right here at the first round junction. So here, stop and take it to the left side. There's going to be a couple of bear enemies here that you have to defeat. But if you beat them, if you pay attention to the cave opening here to the right side, there should be a corpse that gives you that ring. And the ring is pretty okay. Wayfarer's ring provides 20% health and essence regeneration from potions and food, which can come in quite handy since you're going to be pretty much using those all the time. Now, if you want a medium armor instead, there's one that you can get via a treasure map you can buy very cheaply at the Claviger's Landing. So if you go at this trader, you can buy it pretty much outright. It doesn't cost more than 100, but it's going to point out the same location back at the Watcher's Mirror. So you're going to go to the same camp as before, but instead of going towards the castle, you're going to go towards this downwards path inside of the forest, and eventually there's going to be an edge of a cliff. This is where the clues pretty much bring you, and if you pay attention, there should be this huge skeleton by the side of the opposite mountain. Now, if you take a look to your left side, you should see something that resembles the map. So this is the area we actually have to be in. So from this point on, you're going to want to make your way exactly following that path. So in this case, we're going to go through this small opening all the way into the structure blocked ahead, and this is exactly where we need to be. Destroy it, open that chest up, and now you're going to get this really awesome armor piece called the Stalker's Pride. So this is going to be a medium armor, which means its penalties to stamina and essence will not be quite as big. It still gives you some decent damage reduction, plus it casts a barbaric shout when you take damage that's greater than 30% of your max HP. Plus, you also get 5% stamina regeneration rate, so very useful if you especially like to play as a rogue type character. Now, I also recommend doing a bunch of the quests, the side quests in the main town, as you can get some other uniques there as well. And one of them is to retrieve a secret shipment right here for this NPC for the A Lady Never Tells side quest. So in this case, to retrieve the item / cash that you need to head over right here to this house marked right now on the map, but we can only access that through its collapsed rooftop. So from the other building a bit up north from it, we can use this platform next to the pens to make our way to the side of the building and to the rooftop on the other side. From here, just navigate the rooftops up until you reach the final house we need to be in. Pay attention to the collapsed portion and just go through the gap. And at the bottom, you're going to find another treasure chest. And if you also pay attention to this side right here, there is a secondary chest that will give you the item that you actually need. In this case, Juliana's shipment. From this point on, you can just head over back to Juliana, give in that quest, and now you're going to get this pretty awesome, I would say, unique trinket that's also very useful for mages. Slowly regens essence while close to a companion, which honestly should be pretty much all the time. And that pretty much concludes today's video. Let me know down below if there's other cool uniques you found in your first starting hours. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.